Sometimes the people who doubted you gave you the fuel you never knew you needed. Folks, let's start with this, because it's a truth that hits harder the more you sit with it. They didn't believe in you. They thought you'd crumble. They thought you'd fade into the background, sit in silence, maybe even beg for their attention. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, and whether you feel it yet or not, something inside you is shifting. Before we go any further, hit that like button to show you're not who you used to be. And if you're serious about evolving into the version of yourself they never saw coming, subscribe. This channel is built for men rising through rejection, rebuilding through silence, and returning stronger than they were before. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't just advice, it's a blueprint. Now hey, imagine this. You're like a seed buried deep underground. It's cold, it's dark, there's pressure everywhere, and from the outside it looks like the seed is gone, dead even. But beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. That seed is about to break open, not because it's broken, but because it's becoming something new. That's you. They thought burying you in silence would be the end. But they didn't realize. You weren't buried, you were planted. Most people don't understand this part. Silence isn't always surrender. Sometimes silence is your sacred ground. It's where the old version of you is burned down and the real version begins to rise, the one that doesn't need approval, the one that doesn't chase closure, the one that doesn't fold under pressure. You don't come back to explain. You don't come back to prove. You come back transformed. And let's not pretend this journey is easy. Rejection burns, especially when it's from someone you gave your time, your loyalty, your love. It hurts to be doubted. It hurts more when they walk away like you never mattered. But here's the twist. That pain, it's not there to destroy you. It's there to awaken you. Because no growth happens without discomfort. A diamond doesn't form without pressure. A sword doesn't sharpen without friction. And a man doesn't evolve without pain. You ever notice how they start watching the moment you stop chasing, the moment you fall silent, not out of anger but out of purpose? They get curious, they wonder, they scroll, they remember, because silence doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means something's happening that they no longer have access to. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." And that's exactly what you're doing. You're not stuck. You're not lost. You're building, quietly, steadily, with discipline. And while they were hoping you'd fall apart, you were learning how to rise in pieces they never even saw. And let's be clear, you're not doing this for revenge. This isn't about making them watch. This is about making you proud. The regret, that's on them. The rise, that's on you. Because when a man stops explaining himself and starts evolving, he doesn't just change, he becomes unforgettable. So I want you to drop this in the comments right now. They'll regret doubting me. Write it. Say it out loud, show it to yourself, and while you're at it, press that like button to lock in this shift. Hit subscribe if you're ready to leave the old version of you behind, because from this moment forward, you don't chase, you don't fold, and you don't stay stuck in the silence they left you with. You become, you evolve, you arrive. Stay with me, the storm is coming, and this time, you are the storm. Number 1, they misjudged you because you were still healing. First, they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. They misjudged you, not because you were weak, not because you were unworthy, but because you were still healing, and healing never looks powerful when you're in the middle of it. It's messy, it's quiet, It's full of long nights, inner battles, and silence no one else can hear. They didn't see strength, they saw struggle, and they confused your stillness for surrender. You were in the dark, trying to make sense of everything, trying to rebuild your self-worth while parts of you were still bleeding. And the truth is, most people don't wait around for healing. They walk away when it looks too slow, too inconvenient, too unfamiliar. They looked at you while you were still halfway through the storm and thought, "This is all he'll ever be." They couldn't see the man behind the pain. They couldn't see who you were becoming. And maybe, at that time, neither could you. But let me tell you something, my friend. A man who's still bleeding isn't broken. He's just unarmored. He's just in the process of becoming. You can't expect someone who's still patching up his wounds to roar like a lion. Not yet. But oh, when he heals, when he learns to stand again, when he rebuilds in silence, that's when the roar becomes real. That's when the same people who left come back just to stare in disbelief. Ever seen a butterfly trying to break out of its cocoon? It struggles, it trembles. From the outside, it looks weak, looks helpless. But inside, it's building the strength it needs to fly. And if you help it break out too soon, you rob it of that strength. That's what your healing did. It gave you the wings they never thought you'd grow. And now you're not the same man. You're not crawling anymore. But still, doubts creep in, don't they? You wonder, why didn't they stay? Why didn't they see the potential in me? Why did they give up on me before I even got a chance to rise? And here's the lie they planted in your head, that you were never going to be more than the version of you they walked away from, that your silence meant defeat, that your breakdown was your final chapter. Let me break that lie right now. You were never stuck. You were never hopeless. You were simply under construction. You were in the shadows, yes, but not because you were lost, because you were becoming. And sometimes becoming means going dark, pulling away, saying no to the chaos so you can say yes to your growth. They didn't get that. They couldn't handle that. They needed a finished product, and you were still a blueprint. But here's the part they never expected. Your silence didn't kill you. It built you. You didn't beg. You didn't explode. You didn't go out trying to prove anything. You went in deep. And that kind of man, the one who chooses inner work over outer noise, he becomes dangerous in all the right ways. He doesn't chase attention. He commands presence. And when he re-emerges, he's no longer hoping to be seen. He becomes unignorable. Think about how hard it is to keep going when no one claps for you, when the room goes quiet, when you've been left behind with nothing but your thoughts and your fears. That's where your strength was built. Not in the gym, not in front of people, but in the silence, the ache, the rejection, the nights you wanted to give up but didn't. You're not just strong now, you're forged. And that's what makes this next chapter so beautiful. They wrote you off too early. They stopped reading the story before the plot twist. They thought they knew the ending, but what they didn't realize was they weren't the main character in this story. You were, and you still are. That moment you stopped explaining, that moment you stopped seeking validation, that was your turning point. Because here's the thing, people don't fear a loud man. They fear a calm man. A man who says nothing but grows anyway, who walks away from the drama and turns pain into power. That's you now. And sure, it's not easy. Healing in silence while people misunderstand you, mock you, or forget you. It's one of the hardest things a man can endure. But you did it. Or maybe you're still doing it. Either way, you're here, listening, breathing, rising, and they have no idea what's coming. You don't need to announce your transformation. You don't need to post about it. When you walk into the room, your energy will say it for you. When they scroll through your life one day and see a man who's not only healed, but built something powerful from that pain, they'll remember what they left behind. And by then, you won't be angry. You won't even care, because you'll realize they had to go. If they stayed, you never would have gone this deep. You never would have met the version of yourself who was buried underneath all that noise. And now that version is surfacing. So if you've ever felt like they misunderstood you, if you've ever felt like they walked away from you before you had the chance to become, write this in the comments right now. I was never broken, just becoming. Say it. Lock it in. Show it to yourself. Show it to the world around you. Because what's coming next in this video, it's not just about becoming the man they doubted. It's about becoming the man you were always meant to be. And once you step into that version, there's no going back. Stay with me. The next chapter, it's where everything changes. Number 2, you don't need to prove anything. Your evolution will speak. Never explain yourself. Your friends don't need it, and your enemies won't believe it anyway. This is where most men fall into the trap. The urge to explain, to defend, to prove to them that you were worth staying for. You want to show them you're not the man they thought you were. You want to send the message, the update, the apology, the success story. But let me tell you the truth that sets you free. You don't need to prove anything to anyone who couldn't see your value when you were still in the fire. The version of you they doubted, that was the version still building, still unpacking years of silence, wounds, pressure, and confusion. You might have been lost. You might have been insecure. You might have even been broken. But you were never weak. You were just becoming. Now here's where it gets real. When you start to evolve, that old itch creeps in, the temptation to show them, to prove them wrong, to parade your glow-up. But listen closely, real power isn't loud. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need validation. Real power just moves, quietly, unbothered, focused. You don't chase them to say, look at me now. You disappear, and your life becomes the proof. Your silence becomes the stage. Your results become the mic drop. Think of the sun. It never screams for attention. It rises, slowly, confidently, and the world adjusts. That's you. You don't rise to prove anything. You rise because it's who you are now, the man they couldn't imagine. You already started becoming him the moment you stopped explaining. And yet, it's hard, isn't it? There's this voice in the back of your mind whispering, they need to know what they lost. They need to see me now. I need them to regret it. And look, I get it. That voice isn't weakness. It's pain, looking for closure. It's the old version of you trying to feel seen one last time. But if you chase their recognition, you're still playing by their rules. You're still trapped in the illusion that their opinion holds power over your identity. And that, my friend, is a lie. You are not the man they decided you were. You are not the story they told themselves when they walked away. You are not defined by the silence they left behind. You are defined by the man you choose to become now, in the quiet, in the shadows, away from the spotlight. That's where real evolution happens, not in the Instagram post, not in the look at me now comeback, in the stillness, in the grind, in the relentless commitment to becoming someone you can't walk away from. Because at the end of the day, they might never see it. They might never admit they were wrong. Their ego might keep them blind, and that has nothing to do with you. The truth is, your evolution is not a billboard. It's not for show. It's a fortress, it's a foundation, it's your new standard. And when you start building from there, on your own terms, for your own peace, everything changes. You stop waking up, hoping they'll notice. You stop checking your phone for signs. You stop shaping your growth around their absence. And suddenly, you start doing it for something deeper, for clarity, for purpose, for dignity. You stop needing to prove anything because who you are becoming is the proof. There's a reason they never saw your value. It wasn't because you didn't have it. It was because they couldn't comprehend it. Some people don't have the vision to see gold while it's still in the dirt. They want the shine, but they won't stick around for the digging. And when you were in your digging phase, they walked. Let them. Because when the gold finally shines, it doesn't explain how it got there. It just exists, and everyone sees it. You don't need to justify your silence. You don't need to clarify your growth. You don't need to announce your healing. The people who are meant to witness your next chapter won't need subtitles. They'll feel it. And the ones who missed it? That's their loss, not yours. Listen to what Marcus Aurelius said. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That's your mission now. Not to chase, not to convince, not to compete. Just become. Just be. You don't owe anyone a front row seat to your transformation. If they walked out during your worst, they don't get access to your best. That's not spite. That's standard. So if you're sitting there right now, tempted to post that picture, send that message, prove that you're doing well without them. Pause, breathe, ask yourself, who is this really for? Is it for your peace, or is it for their reaction? Because true power doesn't ask for a reaction. True power moves without noise. True power lives in discipline. And true power, my friend, doesn't beg to be seen. It's seen because it can't be ignored. And that's the man you're becoming. So write this in the comments if you feel this truth hitting your soul. I don't prove. I evolve. Say it loud. Let the world feel it. Let yourself feel it. You're not here to scream louder than the silence they left. You're here to rise so far above it that silence becomes your anthem. This isn't about making them look back. This is about walking so far forward they can't reach you, even if they tried. Let your evolution speak. Let your actions roar. Let your presence, your energy, your peace become undeniable. Because what's coming next? That's the version of you they never saw coming. And once he arrives, there's no going back. Number 3, use the pain they gave you as fuel. Fire turns iron into steel. Pressure turns coal into diamond. Pain turns a man into power. Let's talk about pain, not the surface-level kind that fades after a few days. I'm talking about the type that gets into your bones, the kind that wakes you up in the middle of the night, the type that replays old conversations, unanswered texts, broken promises, and leaves you staring at the ceiling, wondering where it all went wrong. That pain? That's not weakness. That's potential in disguise. You see, they thought they broke you when they walked away, when they laughed, when they underestimated what you'd become. They assumed it would crush you, and honestly, for a moment, it probably did. You might have doubted yourself. You might have questioned your worth. You might have even begged, replayed the story, and blamed yourself for things that were never your fault. That's okay. That's part of the fire. But here's the shift, the pain they gave you. It wasn't the end, it was the spark. You can't light a fire without friction. You can't ignite transformation without heat. And brother, that heartbreak, that betrayal, that silence, that was your furnace. And now, the version of you they thought would shatter is starting to sharpen. Think about a rocket. The thing that propels it forward, that launches it into space, is the very pressure most things collapse under. Same thing with you. You can either let the pain crush you, or you can pressurize it. You can compress it into drive, into discipline, into hunger. Because a man who's been wounded deeply and still chooses to rise is a man no one can touch. But here's the problem most men fall into. They try to avoid the pain, numb it, rush to replace it, distract themselves with noise, with attention, with things that give temporary relief. And for a while, that might work. But the pain doesn't leave. It just hides. It waits, it festers, and it weakens you from the inside out. You weren't meant to escape it. You were meant to use it. So now I ask you, what if the very thing that hurt you was the thing meant to shape you? What if that rejection wasn't punishment, but redirection? What if their silence wasn't abandonment, but permission to focus on you? Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That pain in your chest, that ache you keep trying to bury, that's your pathway, not your prison. You can turn every ounce of it into fuel, into purpose, into self-mastery. You turn that silence into reps in the gym. You turn that anxiety into business moves. You turn that loneliness into time alone, reading, journaling, mastering your mind. You don't run from the pain anymore. You transmute it like alchemy. You make gold from the grief. You make clarity from the confusion. You make discipline from the heartbreak. And that's what separates men who evolve from men who remain stuck. They thought you'd drown in it. They never imagined you'd swim through it and come out stronger. And let's be honest, it would be easier to fold, easier to chase, easier to beg for answers, for closure, for attention. But deep down, you know that never leads to peace. It just pulls you further from your own power. You're not here to beg them to understand the pain they caused. You're here to make that pain the reason they'll never forget you. There's something unshakable about a man who takes everything thrown at him and doesn't just survive, but rebuilds, quietly, relentlessly, without needing applause. That kind of transformation doesn't require updates or announcements. The ones who doubted you, they'll feel it long before they see it. The shift in your energy, the change in your presence, the stillness, the focus, the way you no longer reach out, no longer chase, no longer need their permission to move forward. And yes, it'll feel lonely sometimes. There will be days where the silence is louder than ever, days where you miss who they were, days where you wonder if they even think about you. That's natural, you're human. But here's the key, don't let that feeling drive your decisions. Let it drive your growth, because there's nothing more powerful than using pain as a blueprint for reinvention. Every moment they dismissed you, that's fuel. Every time they ghosted, ignored, or underestimated you, fuel. Every lie, every betrayal, every empty promise, fuel. And you burn that fuel, not to destroy, but to build. You build the body they thought you'd never have. You build the discipline they never expected you to maintain. You build the mindset so strong that even their return couldn't shake your peace. You build a life so full, so rich, so unapologetically yours, that regret becomes the only language they speak when your name crosses their mind. This is the part they never anticipated. They thought you'd break, but all they did was awaken something they didn't understand, a deeper hunger, a deeper clarity, a deeper man. So if you're sitting there wondering what to do with everything you're feeling, here's the answer. Build something with it. Use the pain, use the weight, use the silence, use the doubt. Use it all. Every scar becomes a brick. Every memory becomes a tool, and every tear becomes a reason to never go back to who you used to be. Write this in the comments right now if you feel this in your chest. My pain is my power. Say it out loud. Show it to yourself. Show it to the world. Let them see what they ignited without even knowing it. You're not bitter. You're becoming. You're not broken. You're building. And you're not done. Not even close. Because this version of you, this is just the beginning. Stay with me. The fire only gets hotter from here. Number 4. Disappear, then re-emerge unrecognizable. The lion doesn't turn around when a small dog barks. African proverb. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is vanish, not to hide, not to sulk, but to transform, to go silent, not out of surrender, but strategy, to disappear not in defeat, but in discipline. Because there comes a moment in every man's life when he must choose, do I keep explaining myself to people who never understood me, or do I evolve in silence and let them wonder where I went? The world teaches you to stay visible, to keep posting, keep talking, keep proving, but real power doesn't grow under spotlights. It grows in the shadows, in the places no one claps for you, in the rooms where no one checks in the hours where you're left with nothing but your reflection, your regrets, and your reason. That's where the real transformation starts. When you disappear with intention, something begins to shift. You stop trying to fix what broke. You stop trying to convince them why they should have stayed. And you start asking a more powerful question. Who am I without their validation? At first, that silence is terrifying. You feel forgotten. You feel invisible. You feel like maybe you lost the game. But that's not the truth. The truth is, you just exited their story and started writing your own. You become unpredictable, unreachable, and let's be honest, nothing stirs curiosity like mystery when you're always posting, always checking in, always explaining your progress. You become easy to figure out. They know where you are. They know what you're doing. They know how to gauge their hold on you. But when you vanish from their world, you strip away their ability to control the narrative. Suddenly, they're scrolling and you're not there. No updates, no photos, no stories, no likes, no attention. And trust me, that silence grows heavier by the day. They don't know if you're healing, if you're glowing, if you're thriving, or if you've already moved on. And in that uncertainty comes the first taste of regret, because they expected you to stay visible, to linger, to remain stuck. But when you vanished, you did something they weren't prepared for. You became a mystery again, and mystery breeds power. But here's the key. You're not doing it to get a reaction. You're doing it because the version of you that's coming needs privacy to grow, needs silence to build. Just like seeds in the soil, just like warriors before the battle, you need isolation not to hide, but to sharpen. Think about it. Every transformation story begins with disappearance. The monk retreats to the mountains. The soldier enters training. The phoenix burns in ashes. Transformation is not loud. It's sacred. You're not running from the world. You're preparing to face it as a new man. And don't be surprised if they start to circle back, checking your profile, asking mutual friends, dropping little, "Hey, just thinking about you" texts. That's not love, that's curiosity, that's the silence working. That's your absence, echoing louder than your presence ever could. But here's where many men mess up. They feel the silence working and they break it too early. They let their ego say, now's the time to show her what she lost. Now's the time to post the glow up. Now's the time to let her know I'm doing just fine. And just like that, the mystery dies. The power dissolves. You go from unpredictable back to familiar. Let me say this clearly. Don't break the silence too soon. Let her wonder. Let them question. Let the silence marinate. Because the longer you stay gone, the more vivid the image becomes in their mind. And often that image becomes far greater than anything you could have said or shown. That's the gift of absence. It forces people to imagine. And imagination creates feelings you don't have to force. Now picture this. You've been gone, focused, training, evolving. You've been pouring into yourself like never before. Reading, working, lifting, creating, healing. You've turned your pain into purpose, your silence into strength. And then one day, you return. Not loudly, not to prove anything, just by existing, just by showing up in full alignment with your power. You walk into a room and the air shifts. Your energy is calm, detached, elevated. You're not seeking validation. You're not replaying old stories. You're just there, and it hits them. That version of you they left behind. He's gone. In his place stands a man they can't read, can't predict, can't reach. You don't need revenge. You don't need an explanation. You are the closure, and here's what they won't admit. Deep down, they know they lost access to something rare, something real, something they'll probably never find again. And that realization, that's where regret begins. That's when the silence turns into a mirror. That's when your evolution becomes their reflection. But by then, you've already outgrown the need for their recognition. That's what makes this power so undeniable. It's not just about disappearing, it's about returning unrecognizable, about becoming so grounded, so self-assured, so purpose-driven, that their opinion no longer holds weight. They no longer have keys to the doors you've built. You didn't just disappear to heal. You disappeared to ascend. So let the silence stretch, let the distance deepen, let the mystery grow, not to manipulate, but to mature. Let the man they once knew fade, while the man you're becoming steps into the light. And if you're still in that phase, still building, still quiet, still healing, embrace it. Don't rush to be seen. Don't rush to be heard. Let them wonder. Let them whisper. Let them scroll and not find what they were hoping for. Because one day they will look. They will check. And when they do, they'll realize you didn't just move on. You leveled up in a way they never saw coming. So if you feel this, if you're in that quiet grind, that sacred solitude, write this in the comments right now. I'm disappearing to evolve. Show yourself, remind yourself, and show the world that silence isn't weakness. It's war preparation. Stay gone, until the man you're becoming no longer resembles the one they walked away from. And when that day comes, let your presence do what your words never could. Let it speak in silence. Let it say, you can't reach me anymore. Stay with me. Because what's coming next isn't just a comeback. It's a rebirth. Number 5, rejection was their mirror, not your worth. You are not what they did to you. You are what you choose to become despite it. Let's get something straight. Rejection hurts. It cracks something inside you. Whether they walked away without explanation, chose someone else, or slowly stopped caring, you felt it, and it didn't just sting your heart. It hit your soul. It made you question your worth, your presence, even your identity. And that's where the real danger starts, not in the rejection itself, but in the meaning you attach to it. Because here's the lie we tell ourselves: if they left me, I must not have been enough. But let me break that lie for you right now. Their rejection was never about your worth. It was about their limitations. It was about what they couldn't understand, what they couldn't handle, and what they were too blind or broken to see. When someone rejects you in your becoming phase, they're not walking away from your value, they're walking away from their reflection. You see, rejection isn't always about what's wrong with you. Sometimes it's about what your presence reflects back to them. Your love, your effort, your depth. It showed them who they weren't ready to be. And instead of rising to meet it, they backed away. They took the easy route. They blamed your intensity, your honesty, your vulnerability. But none of those were flaws. They were mirrors. And not everyone can face their own reflection. But still, I know how it feels. You sit there thinking, if I was really good enough, they would have stayed. You start shrinking yourself, dulling your light, editing your truth, and eventually you stop showing up fully because you're afraid of being too much again. That's the wound rejection leaves. It convinces you to believe that their inability to receive love was somehow your failure to give it. But my friend, your worth was never measured by someone else's inability to see it. Just because someone didn't choose you doesn't mean you weren't valuable. Just because they walked away doesn't mean you were unworthy. Just because they didn't say, "You matter," doesn't mean you don't. In fact, some people leave not because you lacked anything, but because deep down they knew they couldn't rise to the level your presence demanded. Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." Their decision to walk away, that was their perspective, not your truth. So stop treating their rejection like a final verdict. It wasn't the end of your story. It was just the end of your chapter with someone who wasn't equipped to read your pages. You don't rewrite your value based on people who never understood your depth in the first place. You want to know what makes rejection powerful? It reveals everything. It shows you who was real, who was temporary, and who only loved the version of you that made them comfortable. But when you started growing, when you needed deeper connection, when your truth started making noise, they backed out. They didn't reject you. They rejected growth. They rejected effort. They rejected accountability. And that rejection, that was your mirror too. It showed you what you still needed to heal. It showed you the parts of yourself that were still seeking validation. It exposed the holes in your self-worth, and it made you feel like you had to earn love, prove value, perform to be accepted. That's the lie it planted. But now you're awake. Now you're starting to realize that the love you were trying to get from them is the love you need to give to yourself. They didn't reject the real you. They rejected the version of you that was still finding himself. And that version, he wasn't finished yet. You were still in progress, still healing, still learning, still building your voice. And that doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But the man you're becoming now, he no longer waits for someone else to validate his becoming. He validates it by living it, loudly, unapologetically, silently, powerfully, however he chooses to. You don't need revenge. You don't need to make them regret it. You need to reclaim the meaning of that moment. It wasn't your ending, it was your awakening. Let that rejection be the fuel, not the fire. Let it push you, not poison you. Let it show you what you're made of, not what you lack. Because when a man walks through rejection and doesn't shrink, when he chooses to expand instead, he becomes a force no one forgets. And the truth is, you won't always get closure. You won't always get an apology. You won't always get to hear, "I was wrong about you." But you don't need it, because your evolution is the loudest answer. Your growth is the proof. Your presence, your peace, your power, that's the response. And one day they will look back. They'll remember the way you showed up, the way you gave without games, the way you stayed when it was hard, and they'll realize what they walked away from. But by then, you'll be beyond it, not out of ego, but out of expansion. You outgrew the version of yourself that needed their love to feel complete. And that's where true freedom begins. So if you've ever felt crushed by someone's rejection, if you've ever carried their silence like a weight on your chest, if you've ever started to doubt your worth because of what they didn't see, stop, look in the mirror, and remind yourself, they didn't reject me. They revealed me. Write that in the comments right now if this hit you deep. Their rejection was not my reflection. Say it, show it, etch it into your mindset. Because what's coming next in this journey isn't just about healing. It's about rising into someone so grounded that no rejection can shake you again. Stay with me, because the version of you that's rising now, he doesn't just recover, he rebuilds. And this time, no one sees him coming. Number 6, build in silence, shine in absence. Work hard in silence. Let success make the noise. This is where the real shift begins, not when you get their attention, not when they come back, and definitely not when they finally realize what they lost. No, the real shift begins when you stop caring about any of that and start building for you. Because here's the hard truth most men avoid. If you're still doing it for them, you haven't healed. If you're still checking your phone, hoping they'll notice your progress, you're still chasing something outside yourself. And that's not power, that's performance, that's desperation dressed up as discipline. But the man who builds in silence, he's different. He's not posting every step. He's not broadcasting his pain or showing off every minor glow-up to prove he's doing well. He doesn't need the world to clap. He doesn't need her to look back, because he understands something most never learn. Attention isn't the goal. Alignment is. You want real transformation. You want that quiet, unshakable power that makes people stop and stare when you walk into the room without saying a word. You want to become the man they thought you'd never be. Then go silent. Not out of spite, not out of bitterness, out of strategy. Because silence is where your true power sharpens. It's where you make the hard decisions no one claps for. It's where you stop explaining and start executing. It's where you don't just talk about your healing, you become it. And here's the truth that most people will never admit to your face. When you go quiet, they notice. When you stop showing up, when you stop updating, when you stop reacting, they start wondering. They fill in the blanks with curiosity, with fear, with questions they'll never say out loud. Because silence makes people uncomfortable. It leaves room for imagination. And imagination, that's where power lives. Let's be real for a second. Most guys, after a breakup or a fallout, they scramble, they jump into distractions, they try to prove they've moved on by moving fast. New relationships, new posts, loud energy. But you choose a different path. You disappear into the lab, into the gym, into your purpose, into your peace. And while they're out there trying to replace what they lost, you're out there replacing who you used to be. That's the difference. You're not trying to be seen. You're becoming someone they couldn't even picture. And that process, it's not pretty. It's not glamorous. It's quiet, uncomfortable, raw. It happens in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the moments where your mind screams for comfort and you choose growth instead. This is where you learn to sit with your pain without needing someone to fix it. This is where you turn rejection into fuel. This is where you sharpen your mind, rebuild your body, and align with your highest standard. And here's what they won't understand until it's too late. When a man stops posting, stops chasing, stops proving, he's not spiraling, he's rising, he's rebuilding something sacred that no one can touch, something that won't need validation, because it will speak for itself. They'll feel it. Not because you yelled it, but because you walked back into the world with presence. And presence doesn't beg to be seen. It commands it. The man who builds in silence and shines in absence doesn't just evolve. He becomes untouchable, because now he's not motivated by revenge. He's motivated by vision. He's not chasing what left. He's chasing what's ahead. And every rep, every routine, every decision, he's doing it for the man in the mirror, not the one who walked away. That's when things start to change. People start noticing the difference in your energy, in how you carry yourself, in your silence. It's not angry, it's not cold, it's composed, it's detached. It says, I don't need you to understand. I understand myself. And let me tell you something that most people won't. When they realize you're no longer driven by their presence, that's when your absence hits the hardest. That's when the regret kicks in. That's when the questions start piling up in their head. Why isn't he reaching out? Why is he so calm? Did he really move on? Is he becoming someone I can't access anymore? And the answer? Yes. Yes, you're becoming someone they can't reach anymore. Not because you hate them, not because you're playing games, but because you outgrew the version of you that needed their attention to feel whole. Let that sink in. You don't need revenge. You don't need recognition. You need results. Results that speak when you don't. Results that echo in every room you walk into. Results that whisper through your posture, your peace, your stillness. So take the pain, take the silence, take the distance, and use it. Don't post, don't prove, don't perform. Just build, quietly, relentlessly, ruthlessly. Because what's waiting for you on the other side of this chapter isn't just healing, it's dominance. It's the kind of power that can't be faked, the kind of power that can't be questioned. And when they do look back, when they finally see what you've become, don't say a word, don't send a message, don't try to explain, just smile, just keep moving, because by then, the man they once knew, he's long gone, and the one who stands in his place, he doesn't just shine, he radiates, because he built in silence, and he shines in absence. So if you feel this, if you're in that season where it's just you, the pain, and the plan, write this in the comments right now. I build in silence. I shine in absence. Let it be your reminder, your commitment, your declaration. Because the spotlight you're chasing, it's already yours. You just need to finish building the man who knows how to carry it. Stay with me, you're just getting started. Number 7, when they look back, you'll be beyond reach. Your new life is going to cost you your old one. There's something haunting about a man who doesn't just move on, but moves up. Not the man who drags his past behind him, hoping someone will notice. Not the one who posts to be seen, texts to be missed, or talks just to fill the silence. I'm talking about the man who walks so far into his evolution, so deep into his peace, that by the time they look back, he's already out of reach. They didn't expect that. See, when they left, they thought you'd linger. Maybe not physically, but emotionally. They thought they'd live rent-free in your mind, that every win you posted would be for their attention, that every move you made would be proof that you still cared. But you chose a different route, one they didn't prepare for. You didn't just let go of them, you let go of the version of yourself who needed them. And that's what they never saw coming. Because let's be honest, people can feel when they've lost access to you, not just access to your time or attention, but access to your soul, that soft, honest, loyal part of you that stayed when they gave you every reason not to. The part that forgave, explained, tried, stayed hopeful. The part they mistook as weak. But now that part, it's no longer available to them, not because you hate them, but because you finally love yourself enough to protect it. They'll scroll one day, they'll listen to a song that used to remind them of you, they'll walk past a place you once laughed together, and it'll hit them, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in that quiet, aching kind of way, the kind that sits heavy in the chest. The kind that whispers, you had someone rare, and you let them slip through your hands. But by then, you'll be gone. Not just physically, but energetically. They'll realize they can't just text you anymore, can't call when they're lonely, can't use your energy to validate their emptiness, because the man you are now, he's no longer available for one-sided love. No longer reachable by breadcrumbs, no longer waiting for someone who couldn't recognize value until it disappeared. And maybe they'll reach out, maybe they'll test the waters, send the, hey, just checking in text, but it won't hit the same, because you're no longer in that place. You're not bitter, but you're better, not because you moved on with someone else, but because you moved on with yourself. That's the part they never expected. They thought healing would make you soft, but it made you solid. They thought silence would make you invisible, but it made you unshakable. They thought time would make you forget, but it made you unreachable. And when they realize they no longer have a key to your peace, they'll begin to question everything. Did I give up too soon? Was I wrong about him? Is he really happier without me? They'll never say it out loud, of course. Pride is a stubborn thing, but behind the filtered photos and fake confidence, they'll feel it. The absence, the weight, the echo of a man they thought would always be there. Now, standing on a mountain they can't even climb. And you won't need to say a word. Because when a man evolves, truly evolves, his life speaks for him. His energy walks into a room long before he does. His stillness humbles. His silence teaches. His peace intimidates. Not because he tries to, because he is. And that's what they'll regret the most, that they couldn't recognize who you were becoming until it was too late. So here's the truth you need to hold on to. You don't need closure when you are the closure. You don't need validation from someone who only saw fragments of your potential. You don't need to chase a past that never knew how to handle your future. Because the version of you that's emerging now, he doesn't seek acceptance. He embodies it. He doesn't demand attention. He commands it. And while they're replaying what they lost, you're rewriting who you are. No anger, no revenge, just results. No look at me now, just watch. No emotional chase, just stillness and strength. That's how you win. Not by trying to make them feel bad, but by becoming someone so aligned, so whole, so complete that you wouldn't go back even if they begged you. Because now you know, some people leave your life not to break you, but to build you. They were the trigger. You were the weapon. They were the storm. But you became the force behind it. So when they look back, let them feel it. Let them sit in their silence. Let them wrestle with the realization that the man they once knew is no longer available. Not because he's hiding, but because he's risen. If you feel this truth in your bones, if you're becoming the man they thought you'd never be, then drop this in the comments right now. By the time they look back, I'll be beyond reach. Say it. Own it. Show the world the power of a man who rises in silence. And if this message hit you, if this reminded you of who you are and what you're capable of, tap that like button to support the mindset. Subscribe to the channel for more real, grounded, stoic strength. And share this with someone who needs to be reminded. They're not broken. They're just becoming. You are not who they left. You are who you built. And that version, that's the one no one saw coming. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and let your silence make history.